And yes, it's me again, welcoming you to another hour of fun, boys and girls. Chris Reardon with you, United Kingdom Talk. Now, I'm not going to tell you, I know you're going to be disappointed. I'm not going to give you any more information about my little visit to my sisters a couple of weeks ago, or information on what I've been doing this week, because we really must clear some of these lovely emails that you've taken the time and trouble to send. Okay, so I'm going to go straight into those. Incidentally, my eye is a little better now. That sty that appeared on my eye, we still haven't found out what causes a sty. I meant to have a little look at that on the internet before I came over today, but I'm not sure what causes a sty. Anyway, a couple of days ago, I got up in the morning and I looked in the mirror in the bathroom and I noticed the sty had come up into a white spot. Hang on, let me just do something on the computer. 1 second, let me close something. There we are. I'm sure I've lost a pile of emails somewhere. Where's that gone now? Just a minute. I've lost something. Oh, wait, is there some here? Is that... Just a minute. I can't find something. By the way, if you're wondering what that noise is, the air conditioning has been switched on because it is quite warm today, but cloudy. And it looks like it's going to pour down with rain, so that's why I've moved back inside. All right, no, I don't... I'm sure I've lost a pile of emails. Where have I... Just a minute. Is that in there? Oh, I don't know. Sorry, talk amongst yourselves for a second. Oh, I'll have to have a look later. Yes, we must do some emails. The eye's a lot better. The other day, Thursday, I noticed it had got a little white spot right kind of where the edge of the eyelid is. You know, the bottom of the eyelid, not the front of it. The bottom of the eyelid had come up in a little white spot. So, and it felt horrible. So I very carefully, now you may not want to try this at home, especially if we have any younger members watching, do take a parent or someone older to assist you if you're going to try and do this, okay? But I very carefully got 2 cotton buds. I knew they had a use. I knew, because cotton buds, you mustn't put them in your ears. And everyone seems to wonder what on earth they're for. What are cotton buds for? Well, I have found another use for them. The other use is, of course, cleaning old cassette tape heads. Come on, boys. How many of you dipped your cotton bud in some alcohol and cleaned your cassette tape heads with it? You did, didn't you? There's no, pardon? There's no analogue equipment here. Beg pardon? I am fully digitalised. I am fully digitalised here in the Mirabel Studios in Royal Berkshire. Anyway, so I got these 2 cotton buds, and very, very gently, while it was ever so awkward, I kind of had one eye open, watching the mirror, and then I carefully got the 2 cotton buds and gently squeezed that part of my eyelid. I hope you're not having dinner, are you? And immediately, stuff came out. Oh, it was vile. Vile, dear. Bit of pus, followed by a little bit of blood. And I very, very carefully, and then I throw those... Well, I didn't. I put those 2 cotton buds on the side. And then I used 3 or 4 more to gently mop up the excess, whatever it was that was coming out of the bottom of it. I don't know what it was. Could have been some sort of eggs. Insect eggs that had been laid in my eyelid while I was, while I was asleep or something like that. And immediately, as soon as it went pop, it felt much better. And as a special gift to my friends and listeners, viewers and listeners of United Kingdom Talk, you today could win those used cotton buds as used by myself for popping a spot on my eyelid. Do you like the idea of that? Yes, someone today could win those actual used cotton buds, complete with pus and blood. Now, what I don't want to see, the trouble is, you see, you give away something like this from a celebrity as myself, and people start just trying to sell it on eBay and that sort of thing. I've got a dreadful feeling all the mugs and everything I've ever sent out have ended up on eBay. Oh, it's dreadful. You know, you think you got friends, don't you? I do these things for you, not so that you can sit there and make money out of me. What a liberty, dear. Okay, there's an email address to the show, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. So the eye's a lot better. I did go to the chemist and got this eye ointment, Broline, I think it was called, and the girl in there, she was saying to put that on the affected area on the eye, but we didn't actually get to this, so I haven't even opened it, which is annoying, really, because it cost me nearly £6 for this tiny tube of ointment. £6, mind you. If you think that's ripping off, oh, I went out for a meal on Wednesday. Talk about being ripped off, but I'm not going to talk about that today. We're not going to talk about that because we'll go straight to emails. I think the entire show today might be emails, all right, because we must catch up. First of all, hello to Marsha, a recent new viewer to the programme, aren't you? Hello, Marsha. And Marsha actually found us through Live 365, which I've mentioned a couple of times on here. It's like a network of literally thousands and thousands of radio stations. Some professional and some sort of one-man bands like myself. And you can find everything on there. She says, Live 365 has a lot to choose. Actually, have I read this out? Oh, it doesn't matter, Marsha. I've got a feeling I've read this one out. Marsha says, Live 365 has a lot to choose from. That's why I like it. I listen to a few other stations on there, mostly things I can't get on local radio. Now, Marsha used to live in North London. She came here to go to college and never left. That is in Central Florida. I have read this out, haven't I? I'm repeating myself, dear. Anyway, I lived in Central Florida first, about 1 hour from Disney and 30 minutes from Daytona Beach. I never got to Daytona Beach. I've been to Florida and Orlando 3 times, and I never actually left the kind of tourist area. It was a bit mad, really, isn't it? I do get worried about being lost. I get ever so worried about being lost. That's one of my worst points, is I cannot find my way from A to B. And it's so annoying when you have this... I call it... I think it's a disability. I should be claiming some sort of benefit, some sort of... Let me think. Undirect. That's what we need. Or a misdirectional disability benefit. Is there a form to fill out somewhere so I can claim something? Free sat-nav with every application. That's a good idea, isn't it? Marsha says she moved south to Florida 3 years ago and loves it. It's a kind of coastal area, so everywhere is 15 minutes from the beach. Do you know, actually, Marsha, I'm not a great fan of beaches. Really not. Sand. In your toes. Oh, it gets on my nerves. Gets on my nerves, sand. And then, why is it on a beach, there's always a tap, isn't there? There's always a tap. And you wash your feet, and then you put your foot back in the shoe or flip-flop, or thong, as it is in Australia. Flip-flop is a thong in Australia. And immediately you've got sand over it again. I hate sandy beaches. I'm not being miserable. I'm not. Don't like sandy beaches. Let me see. She says it's close to Fort Lauderdale and Miami, so there are often shows and other events to go to, so you never have to be bored there. I also love the constant sunshine. Well, I'd like that part of it. I heard you talk about your trips to Florida. Not sure if you ever came to South Florida. If not, I highly recommend it. I'm on Facebook and have added you as a friend. So thank you, Marsha. And I've spoken to Marsha a few times on the old Facebook thing. If you'd like to join my Facebook, and you're on there as well, you can do so. Very simple. Type in Chris Reardon London. Now, I don't want to shock you here, but there are a few Chris Reardons, so be warned. Look for the one of some good-looking dude sitting in an armchair drinking a cup of tea. Okay? That's the main picture I've got up there at the moment. Thanks very much for that. I'm sure I've read that out as well, Marsha. There we are. I think I also read out a more recent email of yours, haven't I? Oh, I get so confused here. So confused. That's why I'm doing lots of emails today, because I need to do the backlog. We have a new person joining us as well. 16-year-old young lad, Yannick. That's a good name. Hello, Yannick. And he lives between Stuttgart and Munich, a town called is it Ulm? U-L-M. I'm proud to say that we've got the highest church tower in the world, 161 metres high. Oh, I don't like heights. Yannick, I do not like heights. I'm just going to see, actually, Yannick, because I'm sure, I know I printed out some more emails, some of which were from you, and I seem to have misplaced them somewhere. There must be a little pile somewhere. Not that I'm, I'm not quite sure where they are. Let me see if I've just saved on the computer here the rest of your little emails that you sent in. I'm sure they're going to be here somewhere. 1 second. There we are. That's you there. There we are. There's the rest of them. Yannick, yes, he's 16. He's been downloading the show for 2 months and enjoys them very much. He plays football in our local football team, and he's another listener playing the violin. You see, we'll be able to have a whole orchestra, won't we? The United Kingdom Talk Radio Orchestra. Yes, I like the sound of that. Well, have you and Catalin? I don't know if you've heard me mention Catalin. She's in the States. I think she ran about the same age as you, Yannick. Oh, have you got a girlfriend yet? Because I don't think she's got a boyfriend and you're the same age. Maybe I should do an introduction, Yannick, but you don't include a little picture on. Mind you, I don't know what Catalin, I don't know what you look like either. Send pictures quickly. All these people who are hiding behind grey boxes. What do you really look like, eh? I need to know. Well, you can see me. It's not fair. It's not fair. Anyway, so we've got Yannick and Catalin now. 2 violinists. Who else plays an instrument, incidentally? Anyone else? Anyone clarinet players? Keyboards? Drums? Anyone like that? Huh? No, just a suggestion. Right, also, he plays football. Well, my nephew is much younger than you. He's 11. He plays football for Woodhall Spa football team. And they got this youngsters football team. He loves it. He's very, very sporty, my little nephew, Jimmy. Yannick is also a tea lover and a chocolate nutter. We do like a bit of chocolate. I've just had a cup of tea, actually. For my special offer, Twinings everyday tea bags in the yellow box. I told you, Sainsbury's, the supermarket up the road, they're doing a special offer at the moment, 1/3 of the price. 98 pence. Usually £3. Can't go wrong to it. Bargain. And that's it. So that's where he lives, in Ulm. I think I've got that right. Thank you, Yannick, and welcome to the show. Thank you for making yourself known. Because some people don't listen for years and years and years. And you don't know they're there. You only know people are there when you get a nice little email like yours. Thank you, sir. What do your parents do, incidentally? What are they doing in Germany? Working away. What are their jobs? I like to know all these things. And what do you want to be? What do you want to do when you're older? Huh? Would you like to be a professional football player? Is that every boy's dream at the moment? Is a professional football player? My dream was actually train driver. Yeah, I wanted to be a train driver when I was a little boy. We all do, don't we? Does anyone drive a train watching this programme, I wonder? Huh? Do you drive a train? Who train drive? Have we got any pilots? Because we know Robert in Iceland, he flies planes. And he listens to this programme. I wonder if Robert in Iceland has ever listened to this programme on an iPod while flying his plane. I don't think the authorities would take very good on that one, you know. Or maybe you have a co-pilot. So when your co-pilot takes over, God, you're sitting there in a plane listening to me. Have you gone mad? There must be something to look at outside the window. Dear me. Email address once again, Chris at... Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Hello to Catherine, who is in beautiful Miami Beach. Yes, Catherine, you must be close to... who was it we were just talking about now? Oh, you see, that's how bad my memory is. It's dreadful, isn't it? We were only just talking. Marsha. That was it, Marsha. Sorry, Marsha. I wonder if you lived close to Catherine. Marsha? Do you live close to Catherine? Because Catherine... Oh, I'm dropping bits of paper. Catherine is in Miami Beach. That's where she lives, dear. Just love the show. You should get an agent here in the States. You'd be a hit here. A breath of fresh air. Well, I am today because I've brushed my teeth. I don't always brush my teeth before I come over and say hello. That's very kind of you to say so, Catherine. Perhaps you could be my agent, Catherine. I don't mind coming over there for a few months and doing some shows. What would I talk about, though? That would be the beauty of it, actually, because I'm new there and wouldn't know anything. As I'm going around, you'd pick up all these stories, talking to people, wouldn't you, in the streets? Oh, I talk to people anywhere. Quite often, sometimes, here where I'm, people know me around here, my neighbours and that, I do notice that sometimes as I'm walking along on the road, or on the pavement rather, and I might see someone who I know from living in the houses around me coming on the same side of the pavement, and I say, hello, and I don't understand it. Sometimes they quickly turn their heads, cross over the road and walk quickly. And it's as if they haven't seen me. I can't understand that. Or there was one bloke the other day, I said, hello. And he looked the other way and put his umbrella up. And it wasn't even raining. And I couldn't see his face after that. What's all that about? It's like they're avoiding me. I don't know why. I mean, I suppose sometimes I do strike up a conversation and I notice people's eyes glazing over or slowly falling asleep while I'm talking to them. Sort of, I suppose, really, sometimes when I have a conversation, it is me doing all the talking. I did mention the other day that at my sister's house, when we were all having Sunday dinner, it was a bit quiet. So I tried to make the conversation, and I just chatted and chatted and chatted. And I noticed, after a while, people started getting up, and they're like, well, why are you getting up? We've finished our dinner. And they'd all eaten their dinner, and mine was still sitting there because I haven't stopped talking. Terrible, isn't it? Incidentally, I shouldn't really tell you this, but my sister's mother-in-law, okay, that's my sister's husband's mother. Apparently, they went out the other night. Now, this lady, I think she's over 70 now. She went out with them and got drunk. And my sister, this is a lady of 70. My sister had to go, because she lives in the same house, you see. They've got like a little bit extra onto the side of the house where my sister's mother-in-law lives. And they went back to the house, and my sister had to sit there in her room with her while she was getting, It's that awful. She kept being sick into a bowl. Oh dear! Come on, when you're a bit older, we expect more than that. We need examples set. It's not a very good example, is it, to my sister? God knows she's uncouth enough without having to watch something like that. Catherine also writes, because I wrote back to her, didn't I, Catherine? Oh, yes, we like the personal touch. Excuse me. Miami is amazing, because I said that to her. I hadn't been to Miami. Miami is amazing. You will love it. Come visit me. Do you know, we've actually got quite a few people with us from Florida now. There's Catherine, of course, yourself, Catherine. We've got Marsha. We've got Gloria and her husband. We've got Amy. Loads of people in Florida. How many more people in Florida? Is there anyone else in Florida there at the moment who listens to the show? Don't know why that is. No reason for that. Why Florida? Do let me know if you've never written in and you're in Florida. Email address chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. All right? Catherine says, come visit me. An agent might see your show sometime. But, because I then wrote back to Catherine. And I said, my problem, my personal problem is, I do things and I never really go for, how can I put this? For example, I would love to work for the BBC, right? Doing perhaps a little show like this. Or I even thought about, like, you know, the little satellite television stations. We have lots of very, very small stations. I thought I could do a show like this every night on a satellite TV station. So about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Just for an hour or so. Every night, Monday to Friday. But I will never do anything about it. I got to admit, when I was much younger, about 15, 16, and I needed a job, it was my mum who was filling in the forms and sending them off. Or the fact that I wanted to pay the church organ at church. I never asked the priest. I was about 20 then. I never asked the priest. Mum would go and ask the priest. And then she would go, oh, the priest says you can go and play the organ. And I'm like, what? Oh, yeah, I asked them for you. And in a way, I'm not very good at pushing myself forward like that. And Catherine, I wrote to Catherine and I said, I don't push myself forward to do these things. I kind of do them as of now, like I'm doing this now. And of course, the radio. I do them in the hope that perhaps at some point, someone who is to do with bookings or a producer or something, someone might see them. There's lots of different ways to do it. It's probably completely the wrong way to do it. But I do this, and I think one day, maybe one day, the phone might ring, which will be hard because you don't know the phone number. Isn't it? Well, you get an email, you know. One day, perhaps an email might come through from whoever saying, hello, like your show, would you like to come in for a chat? Well, it's been about 5 years ago, and it still hasn't happened yet. But never know, it might happen. It might happen, mightn't it? And that really, Catherine, is my problem. And I wrote to Catherine about this. And she says, come visit me. An agent might see you sometime, but you, and she's quite right, you need to decide where you want to go with the show. I've heard you talking about maybe working in Australia. Yes, I love it. I love Australia. I love the people. I love the climate. I love the vegetation, especially in the north, in Cairns, Queensland, is beautiful. That's really where all the dangerous animals are. And I mean, you know, people who haven't been to Australia will say to you, oh, don't want to go there, snakes and spiders and crocodiles. Well, yes, there are. But you rarely see them. How many times does a snake come towards you? They don't tend to come towards you. As soon as they hear you, they're off into the bushes or somewhere like that. But yes, they do have some of the world's most dangerous animals. I was actually sent a long list of dangerous animals that are in Australia. And if you read this list, you probably would never go. And I've always intended to read this list to you at some point, and when we get a bit of the time, we will do. But there's an awful lot of things there. But overall, it's a lovely country. Beautiful place. The only thing I'm not too keen about in Australia is the television. Diabolical. Especially during the day. It's just awful. Everything else about the country, fantastic. Really is. Catherine says, I can see you. You have, I mean, nicely, I don't usually read out things like this. I will do now, I've started. You have everything it takes to make it, Catherine reckons. Your mission, Chris, should you choose to accept it. That's Mission Impossible, isn't it? Yeah. Your mission, Chris, should you choose to accept it, will be to find out where would really make you happy career-wise. Now, there, Catherine, you see, career-wise, what I do at the moment pays the bills more, very well. Let's just say very well. What I do the DJing, I do the bingo, karaoke, quiz nights, it does pay the bill, and I get a certain amount out of it. Am I 100% happy with all these things? No. No. There are some places I work at that I get extremely bored. Really bored. But I tell myself that I'm only there for a few hours, nowhere near the same time as perhaps someone would be working in a supermarket, and certainly not as long as some people working in an office. I mean, I know there are people who like working in offices. It's you, isn't it? It's what you like. I could not do that. I could not get up at 7:30 in the morning, go to an office, start at 9 o'clock, sit at a desk for hours on end. And I know there are people at the moment listening. I don't know if we have anyone watching the show while they're in an office. Certainly people do listen while they're sitting there in an office. I know you're there because you write and tell me that you're quietly listening, don't you? People write in and tell us that they're quietly listening at a desk while they're trying to pass the time of day. And that gives me, that sort of thing, that sort of email gives me the kick that I need to do this. For one person to write in and tell you, you've helped brighten my day up a bit, that's what it's all about. It really is. It's the most pleasurable part of doing this, knowing that perhaps you've made someone smile. Or just sit there, and instead of sitting there, maybe that 8 hours in the office became 7 hours because you kind of, by listening or watching the show, you helped them through it, made them smile a bit, or made them think a bit more. I know there are many office jobs that are really mundane. I mean, can you imagine working, I don't know, in, let's think, in a bank, counting numbers all day long? God, I mean, I can't think of anything worse. So that's what you do. Now, the jobs I do, Catherine, in pubs and clubs, some, they're all okay. None of them are bad. They're all very well paid, okay? I probably earn more than the normal man in the street. It's just entertainers' rates are a little bit better. Although I have to say, they haven't gone up in a couple of places in the last 4 or 5 years, which rather annoys me. That does quite get to me. I think that's wrong. I think everyone deserves a small increase in their salary, year in, year out, to keep pace with inflation. Mine certainly hasn't gone up in a couple of venues. But I can't complain. I get a very good wage for what I do. But I hear what you're saying. I can hear you saying it, Catherine. Are you happy doing it? I can't tell you which of the jobs I find boring and which of the jobs are fantastic. If I just tell you which of the jobs are fantastic, then you'll work out which of the ones are boring. And there could well be someone watching this at this moment who will then go back and tell one of the bosses, oh, he's been slagging you off. No, you've got to be very careful with that, you see. So I can't say, but yes, I find a couple of the jobs exceedingly boring. Which ones? Oh, well, maybe one day. But this, doing this, which is unpaid, as you know, doing this is not boring. I think one of the reasons this isn't boring, Catherine, is because you're like constantly thinking of what to say next. Perhaps sometimes I'm thinking that I might like to say something, but it might not be for this particular show, or it might offend someone. Last thing I'd ever want to do is offend anyone. You talk to any comics, any comics, what do you call them? You know, people who tell jokes and that. Comedians. Talk to comedians, anyone like that. The last thing they would ever... I'm not a comedian, not at all. I'm just an ordinary bloke sitting here having a chat with you. I'm not a comedian. I just talk about life. I don't bring up jokes or anything like that. But when you talk to people who do this sort of thing, the last thing ever is that you'd want to offend someone. You would not want to offend them, not even by mistake. Now, I don't think I've done it on the radio or on this programme. There's been a couple of incidents, perhaps, where you've done a live show in a club or something like that. Maybe I'm doing some DJing and I've used the microphone. Not always. Sometimes it's just music all night long. Sometimes I use a bit of microphone. Sometimes I use heavy microphone, which is talking a lot. Depends on the situation, the club, what I'm doing. There has been a couple of occasions where perhaps someone's got the wrong end of the stick and been offended. And I am mortified. I am mortified that they were offended and didn't see the funny side of it. It does happen sometimes. On the other side of the coin, I do believe that certain people come out looking to be offended. It's strange. Now, usually, I might have a conversation with someone on the microphone again, as I say, and I will usually know the person, or I've bumped into them a couple of times, so you know where you are with them. As you know, Catherine, if you've listened to the show a long time, I am particularly colourblind. I don't see people for their colours or anything like that. However, I do like to have a joke, and they joke back with me. And quite often, you might have, for example, one of my friends, what's his name now? Well, we know him as Britney. Okay, I haven't seen him for a few years now. Know him as Britney. All right? Because he likes Britney Spears. Now, he is English. He is Asian English appearance. Okay? So we used to call him Britney Patel. And he loved it. This lad, he was about 22 years old. He loved Britney Spears, and I would put on Britney Spears, and he would jump onto the stage and start dancing to Britney Spears. He actually works for BA now on the airlines as a trolley dolly, we call them. You know, pushing the trolleys up, tea or coffee, chicken or beef, all that business. That's a hard job, isn't it? And Britney Patel would come up onto the stage, and I would eventually, after he did this a few times, I would announce him. I would bring him on as part of my kind of show throughout the night. Okay, it's time to welcome your favourite person. Yes, boys and girls, please welcome to the stage Britney Patel. Now, don't forget, if you mention Britney, he does have a shop and a post office, and of course the whole place would start laughing, and he loved it. He loved it. Now, I'm sure there's no one who would consider that a racist comment. The joke was with my friend Britney. Was not a racist comment. But some people will go out looking to be upset. And this has been going on for months. And then one day, I did the same old joke. Everyone laughed, including Britney. If for one moment I thought that boy would have been offended, I would never have done it. And he would come up to me and say, "Oh, here we are again. Hello, Whitey, how are you?" and all this business. And it's all taken as fun. And I always remember one time, a bloke came up just after I'd said this, and the boys dancing on the stage to Britney, everyone's clapping along. It's quite a busy night. It was at the time. There were about 300 people in this place, okay? And they came week in, week out. This bloke came out. He says, "Don't you think that offends that boy?" And I'm like, "What? What you just said?" I said, "No." "How do you know?" I said, "Look at him. He's dancing. He's happy." He said, "Ah, yes. But in his mind, he might be offended." I said, "If he was offended, he would tell me." I said, "I know he would." What sort of person gets offended like that? The person who was offended was middle-aged, balding head, and wore glasses. White. And I said to him, the joke's nothing to do with you. This is for his entertainment, not yours. Why are you offended? And it was for the boys' entertainment. I remember a gentleman used to come into a pub in Hammersmith years and years ago. This is about 15 years ago. The man was not very well. He was very, very ill. In fact, my guess is he probably died some years ago. He was very, very ill. He had a terrible blood disorder. And he would come into this place, the Penny Farthing it was called, in Hammersmith. And there would be gaps of weeks where he wouldn't come in. And then he'd suddenly appear again and he'd sit there. And he always used to laugh and enjoy what I did. That's the biggest thing about doing this job. Not your wages at the end of the night. It's when you see people laughing, and especially people who need a laugh. He was terminally ill. And I'm like, well, where have you been? Oh, I've been in the hospital for a couple of weeks. I said, yes, and he smiled. He said, what do you mean, and? I said, it's no excuse. I said, I've told you before. Bring your bed, bring all your machines and your tubes and your bottles of fluids that are being pumped into you. Bring a nurse as well. We've got space in the corner set up there, but don't miss my Sunday afternoons. And he would be laughing. And throughout the afternoon, I'd do little jibes like that at him all the time. And he had a lovely time. Someone wrote in and complained. Some sad person wrote in and complained that he was concerned that this person was offended. And you often wonder, they've got nothing better to do, have they? Nothing better to do. And before you say you've got to be able to take it as well as give it out, absolutely, I agree. I've been working in, there was a particular place I worked in, I loved it there, the Long Island Tea Shop, which was in London. It's gone now. This is a straight venue, you know, where the boys like the girls and the girls like the boys. And I was DJing in there, plenty of microphone use in there. And I was quite camp there. I would play it up. You understand what I mean? Play up the whole gay thing. I would play it up quite a lot. And it was actually the young lads who joined in more than... I always remember one particular time. There was 2 girls and 2 boys sitting at a table. And I said, good evening. Oh, look at these. We've got 2 very good-looking people on this table here. And the girls went up and said, oh, thanks a lot. I said, no, my darling, not you 2. Those 2 delicious boys. Absolutely stunning. And, of course, they all laughed. And quite often, people would come at the end of the night and say, we're going now, you old puff. I'll see you soon. Thanks for the night. And that was it. Was I offended? No. And that's the general level of it. You surely have to be able to see where offence is given out and where offence is not given out. There's a huge, huge difference. Huge difference. I don't know how do we get onto that, Catherine? God, I went off on one then, didn't I? But that's I would be mortally offended if I ever offended anyone. Really would. Really would. On the other hand, I do think there are many people out there who actually seek to be offended. They look for offence in everything. Catherine says, what would make you happy career-wise? Doing one of these shows 5 times a week with someone to help me. With a producer shouting in my ear, move on, you're getting boring. Because I'm sure I do sometimes. I must get boring sometimes, surely, Catherine. Do I? Huh? She says, I can see you on an American morning show type programme with a female co-host. Are you familiar with any of these shows? Yes, I am. And I don't like them. Don't like them, Catherine. Not the fact that it's a female. I'm not very good at they're called double headers. We have these, excuse me, let me just clear my throat. Oh, that's better. You didn't hear that, did you? Now, I'm not very good at double headers. That is where you have 2 people doing a show at the same time. I have tried it a couple of times on a radio show here in the UK that was doing about 4 years ago. It was an online station. And I find that doesn't quite work too well. It's different having someone on the end of the phone. We haven't done any phone calls for a while, actually, have we? We haven't had much time really to do them. But if you listen back to some of the older shows, well, actually, we haven't done any for quite a few months. We usually have Joy or Gwen or someone like that on the phone for a while. Carl in Yorkshire, of course. Incidentally, I need to thank Carl in Yorkshire for helping me select a new computer. There is a new computer has been ordered, which would speed up. You probably won't notice any difference, but will speed up the video side of things. So I'm not sure it would work with a co-host. You have to have the chemistry right there as well. A lot of radio stations here in the UK, they seem to have co-hosts, which they've obviously chosen two people who work very well on their own and put them together, and it doesn't work. There absolutely has to be a chemistry. One of my heroes in radio here in the UK is Tony Blackburn, right? On his own, love him. Fantastic. But then sometimes they put a co-host with him. And for me, as the listener, doesn't work. I want to hear Tony on his own. And you can imagine that anyone put with Tony must be thinking to themselves, oh, I can't, this is fantastic. I'm going to bounce off on Tony and get famous myself. Well, I'm afraid it doesn't work quite well. There are certain people you want to hear on their own. And perhaps not with a co-host. I don't think I could do that whole co-host thing. But I would try it. If someone says, do you want to try this? Yeah, I probably would try it. I don't know, though, if I'd be able to even they'd get a word in edgeways. You know how it is. Catherine says, I direct and produce and write. I help out with movie, TV production, wherever I can. Also commercials. Part-time film students. Also, full-time mum to a beautiful daughter called Jade, who's 12. Oh, there's two Jades listening. You know Suko? Suko's a regular correspondent to the programme. I have got a couple of emails here from Suko that I've been waiting to be read out for quite a few weeks now. They will come up, Suko. I'm trying, darling. I'm trying. We've actually got enough material now for 5 shows a week, I just haven't got the time to do them, unfortunately. She's full-time mum to a beautiful daughter, Jade. Hello, Jade. And a doggy called Cookie. Cookie the doggy. We like that. Which is a Maltese Pekingese mix. Have you got a picture of your dog? And your family? Just send them through. Pekingese. Pekingese. What's it? What's that? Oh no, sorry, another dog. So you got a doggy Cookie, which is a Maltese Pekingese mix. She's got a dog called Pekatese. Is it Pekatese, who has just had 5 beautiful little puppies. Do you know, I'd love a dog, but I can't be doing with all that training, dear. Oh, the mess on the floor. Oh. My niece, Tracy, she got a dog now. It's a chocolate Labrador called Monty. Monty the dog. It's got the most beautiful face. But, of course, she got it as a puppy and she had to do the training. And it chewed her carpet. It chewed through the speaker wires and messed all over the carpet. I can't be doing with that. I'm sorry. Catherine says, what a wonderful experience. First time I've ever witnessed that. What, seeing a dog have puppies? Yes. To see another life come into the world. That must be lovely. I wonder if you've got any dads watching. Did you see your child come into the world? What an experience to see another life coming along. Huh? I even helped get the last one out, she says. They are so tiny, the little dogs, and fit in the palm of my hand. Yes, I do have small hands, in case you're wondering. So thank you for that. And she says, have a great weekend. P.S. Did you hear about the man who died while drinking milk? The cow fell on his head. You're mad. Mad. Thank you very much, Catherine. Nice to hear from you, my darling. And welcome to the show. Sitting there on the beach, dear. Do you listen to me on the beach? Am I on an iPod? An iPod. Oh, incidentally, talking of iPods, the video, as you probably know, I know some of you collect the programme via iTunes. United Kingdom Talk video which is the video version of this show, exactly the same as the audio show, but with pictures, should now be available on iTunes as well. I think if you type in United Kingdom Talk video, it should come up by now. The programme, as well as being on YouTube, Current TV... Oh, what's the other one now? YouTube, Current TV... Oh, I forgot the other one now. Blip TV. There was another one, though. Blip... What's the other one? Oh, I've lost the plot, haven't I? Blip TV. Oh, and Google Video as well. It's also on Blip TV, and they send it out to iTunes. So if you... I don't know if anyone does watch the show on one of those little MP3 players with a screen on. Does anyone watch it via that? Because if you do, rather than downloading it yourself, you should now be able to get that on iTunes. Type in United Kingdom Talk video. If anyone watches the show like that, I'd be interested to know. It comes down as a... Oh, what's it called now? I'm going to get technical. Oh, I've dropped my pen. An MPEG 4. Is that right? An MPEG 4. The whole joke about all this is that I'm really not. I don't have any of these little gadgets, an MPEG 4 player or anything like that. I'd never have time to watch the thing. But you can now subscribe to the video side of things as well as the audio side of things on iTunes. Okay, United Kingdom Talk video and United Kingdom Talk. Hello to Suko's daughter, Jade. This is the other Jade, who's been with us a while. You remember she wrote about Disney, and I asked her, was there a show called The Big Bear or something, The Blue Bear? And she says, yes, there was a show called Big Blue House, and it had a big bear that lived in it. I knew, you see, Jade? I knew, my dear. I knew that. And they have in Disney World... in Florida, they do have this thing where they have like a TV, I'm sure they have a TV studio called Big Bear's House or something like that you do in Disney in Florida. And I also wrote back to Jade asking her if she could send me, because she likes pandas and penguins. I pop up a penguin, I pick up a penguin. When you feel a peckish, pop up a pick up a penguin. Now, if you're wondering why I'm singing that, Jade, penguin is also the name of a chocolate biscuit here in the UK, and they are delicious. You get 6 in a packet, or when there's a special offer, you get 8 in a packet. 8 of these like chocolate biscuits. Oh, they're delicious. The trouble is I can't have them in the house, Jade. You buy 1 packet of those, gone immediately. The whole packet gone. Terrible, isn't it? Terrible. And I asked Jade to send me a real panda and a real penguin, because I quite like a couple of those floating around in the house. Pandas, they don't bite or anything like that, do they? Well, maybe the little ones do, but they don't eat people. So I'd be quite happy to have a panda here. Would it get on with the cats, though? That's the thing, Jade. Do you think the cat would become friendly to the penguin and the panda? Now, I know cats, they do attack birds, don't they? But do you think that the penguin, if I get an adult penguin, then they won't be able to hurt that, will they? Aren't they big penguins, the way they waddle? I love the way they walk. Actually, my sister walks a bit like that. She does. She waddles like a penguin. And Jade wrote back, please send me a pen. She said, I can't send that. Some baby pandas are taken to be raised up, and they are endangered because people are chopping down the bamboo forests where they live and what they eat. Yes, terrible thing, isn't it? People chopping down forests, and all those wild animals lose their home. I suppose it's similar to when we cut down bushes and even mow the grass. You know, when you mow the grass, are you putting lots of insects out of home? There's a thought for you. Eh? Thank you, Jade. Lovely to hear from you, my darling. Want to say thank you very much to Tommy, who's in London, who has been passing around the show on his Facebook. Now, if you're on Facebook and you're one of my friends, you probably get the updates of the show on Funwall or Superwall, one of those two. And a couple of people, Tommy and our friend Matt in Tasmania, in Australia, have been passing around the show. So when they get the Facebook, they forward the show to all their friends. So I want to say thank you in particular to you two, and indeed anyone else that's been doing that. That's always appreciated. If you ever get the show via Funwall or Superwall, you can pass it around to all your friends by forwarding it. Do you know how to do that? Go on, do it. Please do it. We need more friends. That's it. Thank you very much, Tommy, okay? And hello to Anonymous, who I haven't heard from a while. I thought you'd abandoned me, Anonymous. Is it because your emails have taken so long to come up? Is it what? Is it like a punishment you're giving out to me? Is that what it is? Let me just put my air conditioning on. Oh, don't. I had to turn it on twice this week. Oh, my God, I can hear. Oh, hang on, it hasn't come on. 1 minute. I can hear that electricity meter going around as we speak. Wayne Anonymous writes, hello, Chris. He says, the lion lady, Susan. See, you're becoming famous. Susan's the one who sent me this hat, look. Yeah, shall we wear it? I like this hat. I don't know what the people of Bracknell would think if I was walking around with this on. Let me just have a look at myself in the camera. I don't know what the people of Bracknell would think if I was sitting there wearing this hat. What do you reckon, eh? Am I wearing it correctly, or has it got to go like that, or down? I like that, innit? Like that. I'm wearing, it's basically a cowboy hat, a black cowboy hat with a medal on the front that says, a little badge on the side that says Southfork. And it's black, and it's really good quality. This isn't rubbish. Good quality hat. Wayne says, hello, Chris. The lion lady, Susan, mentioned a city in Texas, Mesquite. The correct pronunciation is Mesquite. Thank you very much for that. I like a bit of correction now and again, as you know, Wayne, Anonymous, right? What the Sam Hill is all this about shutters on your power outlets? Yes, we have shutters on our power outlets here in the UK. They're 3 pins, and that one, the 2 at the bottom are shuttered, that where the power one is, and the earth pin is longer. So when you push it in, the earth pin opens up the shutters on the other 2, and so stops little children putting their fingers in the sockets. He says, I know you Brits are modest, but do you have to put shutters on the openings in your power outlets to prevent peeping toms and paparazzi from capturing images of you in the altogether? Well, you never know who's hiding behind those power sockets, Wayne. It's shocking. People are hiding at this moment behind my power sockets, trying to see me. It's a liberty, that's what it is, dear. The intelligence gathering services here in the States would never stand for shutters on power outlets. Where would they hide their cameras? I think you're right there. It's the CIA are probably watching this programme at the moment. Yes. Worried that I'm inciting international problems all over the world. They really are. He also says, Chris, the Yorkshire Times... There's a bit of music from Yorkshire. The people in Yorkshire will understand that one. The Yorkshire Times had an article about a distraught man who showed up in Casualty holding his hands over his ears while running in circles, shouting and screaming, "Make him stop!" 4 hospital security guards were required to place the man in restraints. Hospital administration are attempting to identify this middle-aged man who was carrying no identification. Well, we don't have to do that in the UK yet. We don't need to carry ID. It's true. But they're trying to get us to carry ID cards. Oh, God knows what else that will do. The only clues were bits of a broken mug marked with a Union Jack flag found in the patient's jacket. Anyone with very information as to this person's identity is asked to call the Yorkshire Clinic for the very, very, very nervous. From Wayne, our friend Anonymous, whose mum recently had a birthday, didn't you? Thank you, Wayne. Nice to hear from you, sir. Don't be a stranger. Don't be a stranger. Now, how long have we got? Oh, very little time. Let me choose a small email. A small email. I've got so many still there that are waiting. Ah! Oh, hang on. Let me see. Hang on. Yes, let's. There we are. Susan, the cat lady who we just spoke about, who has received a mug. I've sent her a mug. Because I'm a kind-hearted old soul, that's why. Susan says, I'm so thrilled to receive your mug. It couldn't have arrived on a better day. I'd taken the day off work to spend it with my sister from out of town. We took her grandkids over to Six Flags over Texas. Oh, which is an amusement park close to Dallas. We were there from 10 a.m. until, excuse me, until 10 p.m. in 100 degrees weather. Oh, dear, that's hot. My sister had been in an extremely nasty mood all day, and all I wanted to do was get home. Oh, I know what you mean, dear. This is at least you. This is what I say. I said about moving up north to be with my sister. But what happens when you have a row? At the moment, I can just walk away. It's marvellous, isn't it, Susan? I had to get up and go to work at 4 o'clock in the morning. Poor blimey. And there was a package. My mailman had leaned over my fence and put my package in my backyard. He is so sweet. Oh, you like him, don't you? Susan likes the postman. Susan likes the mailman. Yes, I know you do. Susan, you've got to make a move, my darling. What if he might be unattached? I'm getting signals here from you, Susan. You fancy the mailman, didn't you? Otherwise, I would have had to go to the post office to pick it up. That package really picked up my spirits. This is the mug that I sent her. I waved goodbye to my relatives as they drove off and ran into my house to open my present. I love my mug. And who is that handsome man next to the British flag? It's me, Susan. Oh, yes. Did I get my right side on there? As my cat and I are both avid coffee drinkers, I will use your mug every day. It's not going to be sitting on the shelf collecting dust. And I do know that the first time I go to see you singing Rhinestone Cowboy was on my birthday. The video and mug has made my birthday special. Happy birthday, my darling. All right. Thank you so much, Chris. I will cherish this mug always. Thank you and have a wonderful day and a beautiful picture of one of the lions there. Thank you, Susan. Time for me to go. And I haven't even got time to open this package that's arrived. Look, package has arrived. Chris at UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk is the email address. Chris at UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk. See you on the next show. Thanks for watching and listening. Bye-bye.